Well, hello everyone. I am your host. I am a very forlorn man. I don't know if you can call Yinzer a man, but we have heard horrible news over the past hour. Mr. David DeCastro is now released. Very excellent timing. I love that. I don't know what we're doing. Yeah, apparently his ankle was not healing up, and we chose not to replace him. We were talking about Trey Turner, and yeah, we're probably really fucked. And don't worry, it's going to be a very unclean show today. There's going to be a lot of swearing. There's going to be so much swear word bombing that you'd think we were in the Gulf War. Well, and in the meantime, let's open up to our fantastically esteemed chat. Scooter Magruder is unfortunately not with us today. He is at the NBA Hype House, currently schmoozing with a bunch of far better individuals and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So maybe we can get a little endorsement from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That would be fantastic. Scooter, if you're listening to this. Oh, yeah. Dude, Airplane was fantastic. Like, he is so much better of an actor than Will Chamberlain. Have you ever seen Will Chamberlain act? He's bad.
He was good in Game of Death. He did the Kung Fu, too.
I only remember him from Conan the Destroyer. It was not good. But we will listen up to our esteemed guest. First, the very punishable Tom Rossi, currently bathing in his own tears, sponsored by Head & Shoulders, by the way. Say hi to the chat, buddy.
Oh, listen, I just want to I want to clarify something. I said it last week, but I just want to remind. So it has shipped. The shampoo mascot, it's a mascot, has shipped.
Yes.
But apparently it takes so long to ship, it's going to take 12 to 20 business days.
I don't see any bottles of Head & Shoulders behind.
Which I said that I would do when I got it. So that.
Well, you can get that from like CVS or something.
Oh, no. I purchased the bottles. The bottles are currently upstairs. But I wanted to.
You had to promote the bottles in the system. Your Lombardi trophy had to be replaced by Head & Shoulders. The Pack-Ass logo, Head & Shoulders.
I'm in full costume to do so.
Tom, are you from Southern England? Are you part Welsh? Because it sounds like you're not doing all the things that we asked you to do here.
You know, Five, it's funny you say that because I know when you got punished, you just didn't show up to one of the shows. See, I show up. So listen, like just because your ode to David Gettleman was so good doesn't mean that the chat has forgotten. Because the chat never forgets.
You have not learned the George Costanza level of avoidance that I have learned, young grasshopper. That's all I have to say.
Well, he should know he was an executive in a fancy company. And speaking of which, to my left, we've got the greatest bald man in the history of bald men, the shiny silver of the sheen himself, Mr. 5 Points Vids. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. I really quickly want to explain how the super chats work again. The more you donate to a certain creator that's in this stream that is running concurrently, the more they are likely to get punished. And last week, Tommyism lost on a buzzer beater, and he has been forced to order a Head & Shoulders shampoo costume. But this week, I really think that Brandon should get punished.
I agree. I feel like we need to share the love.
I think that y'all should punish him hard. For
not everyone,
and Tommy,
we are a vehicle of charity and of donation. And Brandon, it looks like your hair has seen some better days over the past couple days. Yes. So you know what? I think it's time we help you out a little bit, man.
If I ever get $65,000 in super chats, I'll shave my beard.
Oh, speaking of which, there's a challenge right there. Do not tempt the internet. Speaking of which, in my upper right-hand corner, the mastermind of the machine, that is the disaster of Clickbait Sports himself, Zach Galifianakis clone and Elvis impersonator on Saturday nights, Mr. Brandon Perna.
Yep.
How you doing?
We do that. We get some student loan debt paid off, and everything's good. I got a shout-out at Jesse James Caught It. Great Twitter follow if you remember the famous Jesse James play, which
I remember
was like an old video of mine that did really well because everybody hates the Patriots and Jesse James did catch the ball. And this Twitter account just reminds you how many days it's been since Jesse James caught that ball. He made some shirts. I've interacted with him on Twitter for quite a while now. So he sent me this little gem. This is like my favorite part about making dumb internet videos. Is people make shit and then send it to you and you're like, oh yeah, the shirt fits me perfectly. It's soft. It's cozy. And I didn't have to do much to get it.
Yeah, see, he's a good dude, I will agree, but I prefer not to be reminded of that horrible event. I was working in a restaurant that day, and I flipped 17 shades of shit. I remember taking a serving tray and just start whacking the walls with it because it was just such bullshit.
Yeah,
That was a catch.
Because they were playing the Patriots. So
yep, it was the Patriots. That would have got won them the
angry.
game, and then they decide this trickery, and it became an interception.
Super Bowl. Brandon, what would it take for you to shave your head?
This is a lot.
I think for everyone,
I'm talking like
getting
retirement
punished
money.
by shaving your head should be on the table.
Without this, I have nothing. Like,
I don't know. You could pull off the bald with the beard.
I mean, it would have to be like
How much for a Manscaped tutorial?
I've got a red birthmark on my head. I've got a tiny, weird shaped
All
head.
the more reason.
I've got a huge head, which means I wouldn't look good bald either.
Adam looks good bald. Like, Adam is a good-looking bald man.
I would look like a member of the Addams family. I would look like Uncle Fester if I shaved my head.
What about you, Tommyism? What would happen if you shaved your head?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
I mean, you could go back and look. Like my really early videos, like I have a buzz cut. It doesn't look good. Like it does not look good. Like I will be the first to say it looks terrible.
Are you going to use your
pull
veto
off a
on
buzz
that?
cut though?
Are you going to use your veto on the shaving of the head?
I'm not
I'll make all of y'all shave your heads.
Yeah, I'm good. That's a hard pass. Like that's a real hard pass.
So I just remember when it comes down to two really hard things.
Are we really getting like this deep into punishments? Like we're gonna talk about shaving heads because then, like, listen, we're gonna like kick it up another notch. Like, you're
Tom,
bidding on Jeff Bezos like trip to space.
Football season.
Have you seen some of the stuff I've had to do on this channel? I've had several independent streams listening to my sanity slowly die by means of rap album. What about you? Guess what? Come football season, it's not going to come to a point where it's like
I had to do a stream.
It's like,
in
I
which
want
I
to
made
stream.
more money, and I tell you, making that money was the hardest money I've ever made.
Dude, I'd rather work for bitch wages than have to listen to
difficult. I sat there, and the super chats kept rolling in, and I was I just had to dry my tears with the dollar bills when I got paid on the 21st by YouTube. How did you survive, bud? How did you? You had to buy a jersey too? Yeah.
No, you had to buy a couple jerseys,
shampoo
brother.
Costume tree. Did you spend $300? No,
I spent like $200. That's all I have to say.
The funny part is you guys called a truce before the stream.
No, there's nothing wrong with the truce. If this man's going to challenge my dignity, I'm going to fight him.
War is heating up. When you get punished next, I promise you. Okay. You will never forget that. If you thought listening to rap albums were bad, buddy. It's already in the mind. So
interesting.
Absolutely.
I do want to talk about what the Steelers are doing with David DeCastro.
Yes,
not to pour salt on the wound there.
I mean, it's the live topic right now. People are here to see that. So
yeah, because they have let go 3 of their offensive linemen in various capacities, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pouncey retired, even though he fell apart. Villanueva, he's gone to Baltimore. I mean, he fell apart too, but at the same time, you haven't really brought in anyone to replace him. I know they were talking about bringing in Trey Turner, but I thought they were going to try and put him at right guard, not to replace David DeCastro, whose ankle has apparently not been healing up. I know DeCastro's kind of regressed a little bit, but he's still really good.
Yeah, so it's and Matt Fielder too, right?
Matt Filer. Yep, Filer was I liked him at left guard. I mean, I hope he does really well in San Diego. I'm sorry, L.A. I keep calling them San Diego because
forever. It's San Diego forever to me.
Mm-hmm.
Najee Harris is trending on Twitter because the Steelers have lost all their offensive linemen.
And this is why I didn't want to draft a running back in the first round, because you had bigger holes like offensive line. And you had guys like Tevin Jenkins and Landon Dickerson available that you could have taken. Second round pick, let's draft a tight end.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's technically offensive line, right?
The Steelers use them more as pass catching options.
Let's hear it.
I think it's hilarious, though, that the Steelers are rebuilding their offensive line during Big Ben's last season.
They're not even rebuilding it. It's like they're pretending that they're still competitive on offense, even though like re-signing Juju Smith-Schuster, drafting a running back, drafting offensive weapons, solidifying the defense. I mean, that feels to me like you still think you're competitive. I mean, they pissed away a golden window over the past, 5 or so years, and they're deluding themselves into thinking, oh, Ben's coming back for one last ride. This is going to be a special Super Bowl. And it's, this has been a pretty painful offseason, especially since they haven't really done much because of the cap. And, this is a happy go fun time as the motorcycle drives slowly past me, resembling the Steelers' playoff hopes. And let's move on to avoid any further pain. Let's talk about pitcher.
We're not moving on from that. Over under.
I'm the host, bitch.
I don't care.
I'm the host. I get to choose what we talk
I'm the
about.
captain now.
All right, 9 wins is the line for over under.
Ooh.
I want everyone to go around. Is that backwards?
No, that's correct.
You got it.
Okay.
That's good.
Brandon, over under 9 wins for the Steelers.
Ooh, I think under. I think their division's really tough. I think the Browns got better this offseason. The Ravens are going to be about the same. The Steelers feel like the team that just didn't help themselves a lot. And on top of that, I think we all learned Big Ben's arm is mostly dead. It's like his arm died and hasn't told the rest of his body yet. So, yeah, I'll go under.
I'm going to write that down. Under for Brandon.
I mean, the Bengals could be their saving grace. That's probably still 2 wins until Joe Burrow gets, back on his knees.
Well, don't be careful. The Steelers lost to the Bengals under Ryan Finley. So never doubt this team. It's like that Hillary Clinton logo. When we go low, they go even lower.
Diving, smiling, Ryan Finley. That's probably one of the best images from all of last season when Finley's like on the bottom of the pile.
And now he is no longer smiling. He is with the Houston Texans.
Yeah, nobody's fucking smiling there.
That's accurate.
Grossi, over under.
So I think it's under because the Bills, the Packers, the Seahawks, the Browns twice, the Ravens twice, the Chargers, the Titans, and the Chiefs. Like, that's a brutal schedule, even if the Steelers were had an offensive line. So the one thing I will say is that for really tough defenses, you obviously have the Browns and the Bills and stuff. Like, the Chiefs aren't a tough defense. I think that you guys could keep up with them potentially on offense if you're getting all this firepower. But I think 9 wins is the ceiling right now.
I'm looking at the Steelers schedule right now. Week 1, Steelers, Bills. I think that's a loss. Week 2, Raiders, Steelers. That's a coin flip because the Steelers always play the Raiders poorly. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter how. They always somehow lose. Bengals, I think that's a win. Steelers, Packers. Depends if Rodgers playing. I mean, if Rodgers is playing, I think they lose, and then it's going to be a miserable, salty bitch me. Broncos, Steelers. Once again, I don't know.
Who's my quarterback? Is it Aaron Rodgers?
We don't know if Aaron Rodgers is coming. That's a coin flip.
He's not.
Seahawks, Steelers. Nope. That's another coin flip. Steelers, Browns. I think Browns win. Bears, Steelers. Another coin flip. Depends who they're starting. Lions, Steelers. I think that's a win for the Steelers. Steelers, Chargers. I think they lose. Steelers, Bengals, I think they win. Ravens, Steelers, coin flip again. Steelers, Vikings, another coin flip. Titans, Steelers, I think they lose. And then Chiefs, Browns, and Ravens. The back end of their schedule is brutal.
Yep.
Starting from December, it's like starting 7. I've only circled 4 really guaranteed wins. So, I mean, Dak is better than Big Ben. Let's be real. That's not even a controversial statement.
I'm about to unleash fire out of my mouth. Just
do it.
Are you a
Steelers
dragon?
Are going
Okay, small.
Over. Adam's going with the over, ladies and gentlemen.
Steelers are going to have not just under, but a terrible year.
I've been waiting for the year they bottom out. If it's this year,
I'm talking top 3 draft pick.
Wow.
You know what? Then we pick Spencer Rattler.
There's no way.
What?
Ooh. I saw QB1.
The Steelers don't tank, though. So, if they have, a really bad year, they have not had a sub-5-win year since 1969. So if they have anything below 5 wins, that's rock bottom for this franchise.
No, honestly,
They're not going under 5. They'll probably be like 6 or 7, maybe 8-8 or like 8-1. So Mike Tomlin can keep pretending that that they can force this narrative that Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season. So maybe there's that.
I just want there to be a really high Steelers draft pick, and then they pick somebody trash or a reach in the top 5, and you just lose your shit.
And then you're laughing at me. I know how this is.
And then I will laugh at you. That is what I am rooting for. That is what I am predicting to happen. So
the gods are punishing us for our arrogance.
I'm going to see it into existence. Steelers 3-win season and the number 2 overall pick.
Have you learned the powers of sorcery, 5? Because it seems to me that you are really going hard on this sort of vision.
I'm going
maybe blood demon.
No, it's that would be necromancy. I think this is more metallurgy, but that's I don't know. Maybe alchemy. Maybe he's developing Greek fire. Maybe
Can we buy
necromancy? Is necromancy when you
revive the dead
bodies?
So like that's what Dave Gettleman's trying to do with the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you see the stat about, I forget dating back to what year, but the Giants have had a winning record for 0 weeks. I think it was like back to 20.
Look at 5. He's so pissy. Pissy.
It was
noticed because the Broncos were pretty low on that list too.
2015 was the last time we were above 500. And
I thought 2016. I thought 2016 because you made the playoffs that year.
Boat seat, but they haven't had a winning record since the boat picture. Basically.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't think is anyone left from that boat picture.
Sterling Shepard, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
and he might be out of a job soon with Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, that's why we drafted Kadarius Toney.
And you got so pissy at that. And speaking of which, since we've really beaten this to a dead horse,
real quick,
we talk about.
Scooter has just texted me saying that the Steelers are going to have a better record than the Cowboys. So he texted me that, and he's not here to defend it. And he didn't text that.
The Steelers are going to win 4 games.
Yeah, I know. That's what he said. I mean, again, that's what he said. And again, he's not here to defend it. So
remember, folks, Cowboys are going 15-2. Speaking of which, let's go into something a little less risque. Let's talk about pitchers taking their pants off to talk about sticky stuff.
I was going to segue different to that. I was going to say, Tom, can you show your show me if there were any sticky substances on that take right there?
I got you.
Well, Brandon knows a lot about sticky substances, especially with his Tom Brady Lego that he had to destroy to banish the evidence. But if those of you are unfamiliar, the MLB is having a bit of a controversy right now with sticky substances, a thing called spider tack, which allows repetitions per minute to go up by thousands. Yes. In a certain bag, which allows for better movement, better control, better deception, especially in that regard. So the bigger guys were like, Garrett Cole, Trevor Bauer. There were a few other guys. Like there was a Los Angeles Angels trainer that really introduced like a lot of people to that. Yeah. So now MLB has really overreacted because it's become a 3 true outcomes game: strikeouts, walks, and home runs. And a lot of people are kind of tuning out or not focusing. So they're like, we got to crack down on this hard. And so in between innings, they have to unbuckle their belts. They have to take off their hats. They have to remove their gloves. And it was supposed to not happen in between innings, or like not in between innings, but during innings. It happened with Max Scherzer twice in the middle of an inning. And
that punk ass Joe Girardi requested for the second time, and that caused the riff.
And Max Scherzer is not exactly the kind of dude that enjoys having his mojo interrupted.
Right. And then he went and struck out the side or something and then stared at Joe Girardi like he was just walking off, just like.
Yep. Joe Girardi was ready to fight him. He's like, let's go. Let's go.
Because Joe Girardi's going to beat up Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer has 2 different color eyes. That tells you right there that he's crazy. Like
Max Scherzer is Vladimir Putin without any of the fabrications. Like he is just a badass.
He's a beast. So after that,
is this a pro-Putin podcast?
No.
Later that same night, they asked Sergio Romo to disrobe or to be inspected.
He just straight up dropped his pants
down. Like he showed all the way down to his basically, he didn't leave much to the imagination. I think that this is
be
ridiculous.
well hung.
First of all, the pitchers aren't the ones with the sticky stuff on them. They're inspecting the wrong guys. Like usually the catcher or the third baseman is the one that's going to load up the ball. So obviously the umpires are still clueless about how foreign substances get onto the field. The other thing is the guys probably aren't even using it right now because they know that there's a crackdown. But would you be that stupid to have anything? Like they said, we're going to crack down. And now they're doing this ridiculous show of force by inspecting players that would be idiots to bring a foreign substance out there. If I'm a baseball team, I either got that stuff on my third baseman when they strike out a batter and he's going to load it up, or the catcher has it and no one inspects the catcher. Stupid.
Well, nobody's going to inspect the catcher because would you try to inspect Yadier Molina? He would throw a bitch fit the first chance he got. No way.
It's
and
on
now,
his
like,
protector.
and now, like, there are a lot of like balls being thrown like wildly because they can't control it. Their RPMs have dropped by a couple thousand, if I remember correctly. Like at least by Cole and you know what they say about balls being misthrown or like inaccurately just thrown around, man. People can get hurt like that. You can shoot someone's eye out. It's like Christmas Story, but with porn.
Balls being thrown around indiscriminately.
Yeah,
this brings up a lot of ideas for me.
Yeah, it's like a shot put at that point.
Yeah, I want to be the guy to inspect their ball, their nether reasons.
So are you the guy?
I want to be the guy who goes and looks when they unbuckle their pants.
So are you the guy that's gonna like fondle them, or are you the guy that's gonna be like?
I don't know how they do it, but I just want my job to be baseball dick inspector for Spider Tack, which honestly sounds like Spider-Man semen to me, which makes me think the MLB has kidnapped Spider-Man, keeps him locked up in a room, forcing him to produce gallons of Spider Tact. It's really the next Marvel crossover when you think about it. MLB, Spider-Man 6, Spider Tact. Boom. Okay, I said what I wanted to say.
I think, honestly, this is just another case. I mean, we had the Raiders listen to this show, obviously, and go and get Divine Diablo. Last week, we were bashing the MLB, right? And talking about, like, how, the viewership, it's so hard to get involved. I think that this is perfect because now you're taking, like, the Magic Mike demographic of, attractive men taking off their clothes, and now all of a sudden, people are tuning in. So, I mean, I think that this is just a ratings boost, and I'm curious to see, what the ratings look like at the end of the week.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's pretty disgraceful what they're doing and how they're presenting it. I feel it's one of those situations where MLB's trying to overcompensate for previous fuck-ups like they've done for the past 30 years. So, all you have to do, like, at the end of the year is either just, like, lower the mound or push it back or both. You don't have to like put on this dog and pony show about, we care about the sanctity of the game, even though you have a gimmicky runner on second base and extra innings to speed up the game, even though if you're doing it in the middle of innings and in between innings, that's not speeding up the game, Rob.
Yeah, I think the pandemic kind of caused a big problem because baseball really is an in-person type experience. Mm-hmm. And last year when they really kind of realized, they're like, oh crap, we really need to dust up the product on the field because we can't have people in the stands. Now that they're coming back, that's fine. But yeah, baseball for the most part is always going to be something where you just go to the park, you get drunk, you eat peanuts, you yell a bunch of shit at the umpire. Tom, what would it take for you to go to a baseball game?
I'm going to go to a baseball. I've been to a baseball game. I'm going to go to one in September.
Don't you love going in person? Isn't it fun?
That's the only way I'll watch baseball. Yeah.
Very good people watching. Very good waste of an afternoon.
Coors Field is one of the best places to watch a baseball game.
That is actually accurate.
They have a party deck. They built a party deck. You don't you can just pay $10, go up to the party deck, get drunk, and watch baseball. It's like awesome.
Well, that's why they call Coors Field the greatest bar in Denver.
Well,
yeah, no, it is.
That's when a few years ago I went and I got Rockies tickets at a grocery store, and it was $16 a ticket. And we were 3 rows behind first base. I was like, this is the greatest day of my life. Like, it was that cheap. I was like, $16 will be like, in the outfield or something like that. Nope. That was like high end. This was years ago, and it was glorious.
Honestly, it might be cheaper now.
Quick side story. Yesterday, I was at my parents' house and we were watching Phillies Nationals, which was one of the best games of the year. And my son was like, "Oh, baseball is boring. I hate baseball." And I was like, "Just watch this game. This is going to be a good game." Josh Bell hits a grand slam. I was like, "Did you see that?" He goes, "I missed it."
Well, I mean, the thing with October baseball, there's a lot of intensity in every pitch. In the regular season, it's just like, okay, let's
Yeah,
get over this.
I
mean, like, I feel like they either need fewer games or they need the problem is you do fewer games, you're dealing with the sanctity of the game.
The one problem that baseball has now is it takes a while to build up to the action, right? Like in a pitching battle, just a normal at bat. And the thing that was happening with Spider Tack was these pitchers were pitching these ridiculous baseballs that were curving all over the zone, and people would want to watch that. And now that's been taken away in favor of, people hitting home runs, which is fine. But unfortunately for baseball, it's the same thing with basketball. Like basketball doesn't get interesting until the fourth quarter. Right?
Yeah, but even then it's just nothing but 3-pointers anymore. Like, I mean, and I mentioned this like a couple days ago with on Twitter. The art of base running, the art of fielding, and the art of just like timely hitting, it's like dead now. It's nothing but strikeouts, walks, and home runs. And the problem is the most boring stuff to watch, in the most part, strikeouts and walks. Even unless the strikeouts is like on a really amazing pitch.
Yeah,
I feel like it just gets like, okay. The last Pirates game I went to, it was this past weekend. Like the 7th inning, it was a big inning. Bunch of strikeout, like 2 strikeouts, a bunch of walks, 2 3-run homers. And then like a ground out to short. Like there was no fielding in that inning.
Yeah, that's the one thing that football will always have over the other sports, because football, like you could tune in and watch the Raiders and the Chargers on a Wednesday if it's COVID related, and you'll watch that stupid game, right? You'll just be like, okay, unless it's just a really awful game with a lot of 3 and outs. Like football is generally more interesting from start to finish than any other sport, because you've got the contact, the plays, the passing, the running. It's different. But I will say this: baseball is becoming a postseason type game, just kind of like how hockey is, where it does matter, because that buildup, that energy that happens because baseball takes a while to build up, it becomes magnified in the postseason. Absolutely. And that's something that is hard to replicate for other sports. So they're like all my children. You can't ask me to pick a favorite.
Mm-hmm. And speak baseball, and let's change it up a little bit. We're talking about the NBA playoffs now. There was a certain celebrity that appeared on our radars at the Brooklyn Nets game. It involves a certain man up there who managed to go to Barclays Center. And did you instill any advice in Mr. Matt LaFleur, Tom?
I mean, no. He knows all about me now, though. So that was cool.
But tell us, take us through that whole situation.
Yeah, how did you
guys meet each other? Did you go out for coffee? Did you switch numbers? Have you swapped dick pics yet?
Did you follow him into the
have you done
bathroom?
anything like that yet?
Did you follow him into the bathroom?
So,
okay,
I'll walk you through the entire thing. So I went to Game 7. And I was able to get a ticket like really close, just straight up face value, because like they were, I didn't know this, but the guy next to me was saying he was about to sell his ticket because in our section, they were going for $1,400 like an hour before the game. And I paid less than like a third of that. So like I just lucked out. I like that because I bought only one ticket. So it was literally just me.
Humble brag, right? Yeah. Didn't take the wife. I see.
It was just me. So I went. And I'm sitting there, and at the end of the first quarter, I see like out of my peripheral, like this guy walk past me. And honestly, the first thing in my mind, I was like, wow, that's an attractive man, because it was like a well-groomed, and I look over and I'm yeah. And so he had his mask on and everything. I'm like, that looks like Matt LaFleur. Like, and I'm like kind of processing it. I'm like, I mean, like maybe he could have been here. Like he's been to the other Bucks games. For him to travel to Brooklyn though, like I don't know if he would do that, whatever. So he like goes and him and like a posse of people, like they walked away. So what happens is like 10 minutes later, he comes back and he walks right into the row in front of me because that's where his seats are. And I'm like, holy crap, that's Matt LaFleur. So as he's passing, like I have a Packers mask and I'm like, coach, like go Pack, go. We fist bump. I die inside. The new Jets head coach, Saleh, is next to him. So like he's there. So it's
double
him
down on good looking coaches.
Yeah, it's him, his wife, and then Matt LaFleur and his wife. So like I'm sitting there and maybe like the length of my room, like that's where Matt LaFleur is. He's a row and like just diagonally past me. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, this is amazing. Like I tweet out, like just fist bump like Matt LaFleur. It's a good night, right? And so halftime comes around and they showed Saleh on the Jumbotron. So like there was a couple fans like coming over and asking for pictures, but they didn't show Matt LaFleur. So no one's asking it for a picture of Matt LaFleur. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, am I gonna be that guy? Like, am I gonna be the one to be like, hey, can I get a picture? Like, am I gonna do it? And like the clock is winding down. There's like 10 minutes left in the half. And I'm like, you know what? What's the worst he can say?
YOLO.
So like, yeah. So I walk over there and he wasn't doing anything. So I was like, hey, coach, like if you wouldn't mind, like, you know, could you take a picture? I don't want to bother. And he's like, sure, not a problem. And I said, like, you know, it would be like, it'd mean a lot to like the followers. And I explained like the YouTube and like kind of like showed the channel off and stuff like that. And he was just like, why? He explained, he was like, why are you a Packers fan in New York? So went on like that whole story. So we had a good like 5 to 7 minute conversation. Then took a picture. Then like I went back and I was like, oh yeah, there's basketball now. The game was really good. And then at the very end, like he walked out and like walked up to me, shook my hand, said how nice it was to meet me, and said, go Bucks. And I was like,
oh yeah,
it was a good night.
That's
it
cool.
was
All
a
right.
good night.
I've got some questions.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got some questions.
It lasted longer than 4 hours. Yes.
Ooh.
It sounds like you lasted about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is his wife a smoke show?
I feel like that is not the most appropriate thing in
That's
the
a little-
world.
that's
Answer
a
the
little
fucking
poor.
question.
I mean, like, she's attractive. Yeah, sure.
Out of 10.
I would say that the Jets head coach's wife was near a 10.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert Saleh,
That's
another very good-looking bald man.
Very
that
nice.
man, holy crap! Like he looks like he's ready to play football. Like
Yeah, that dude.
he's a big dude. Like
Okay.
he's a big dude.
All right. Question number 2. Was Aaron Rodgers discussed at all?
No. Was going to make a joke because he was texting throughout the game. I was going to ask if he was texting Aaron, but I didn't.
That's probably smart.
Because
Yeah,
again,
that's
there's
a
a
good idea.
possibility that he's on my show one day. So like, I don't want to ruin the relationship
That
before it even
was the
begins.
other question was like, did you try to get him on your show?
No, so I didn't try to get him on. I explained to him though that like I've had Mark Murphy on a couple of times, the president of the Packers, and like I've had players and stuff. And I said at one point, I was like, yeah, we'll get you on one of these days. So I left the door open for it.
You,
I like the idea of
you
him-
said to him that you would have him on.
Yeah.
Like you did.
I'll have you on
Yeah, I'll be on.
when you're ready, coach.
Yeah.
When you're ready.
So I mean, like, listen, you know, I might be heading to training camp this year. We'll see what happens.
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So maybe he'll recognize you.
We'll see what happens.
That's
Maybe
pretty
like,
cool.
That's my boy Tom right there.
That's it.
And last question.
Yes.
How starstruck were you? And did you not be able to process what was happening?
So it wasn't even starstruck because, like, I will
He
say
hasn't won shit as a coach yet.
I was more starstruck like when I interviewed Mark Murphy and I was sitting in the lobby like the second time. That's when like Mike McCarthy and like Dom Capers walked past me and like it hit on me. I was like, holy crap, like this is a thing that's happening. So I think that I wasn't starstruck. I like honestly was just genuinely like elated because it was like a really cool experience, like talking to him. The game was fantastic. Like it was just a really nice evening. So like I was very happy after that interaction. So, yeah.
Nice. And the Bucks ended up winning on they just
It was a
throttled
great
them
game.
in
It
overtime.
was a great game for my
Yeah.
second ever NBA game. Like that was pretty cool.
To
That was a
think
good one.
KD was literally a toe away from advancing the Brooklyn Nets single-handedly to the
Oh, it must have been loud in there when that happened.
Dude,
Ooh.
they went nuts. But
Was his
it
toe on the 3-point line?
His
Yeah,
toe was on
he-
the three-point
yeah.
line, so it was a two-pointer.
When I saw him shoot, I was like, oh, that's only a 2. But oh my goodness.
That was an insane
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
Barclays,
KD is
like,
good.
went unhinged. It was nuts.
How deflated was everyone leaving that place? I've never seen a sadder bunch of.
Oh, there was a mass exodus, and people were not. That's a thing, though. Like, I will say, there weren't a ton of Nets fans there. Like, a lot of them were Knicks fans. The few guys next to me were watching the Islanders game on their phone. Like, the person behind me was a Lakers fan. Like, it didn't. Eli Manning was there, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, Eli was there. So was Jason Sudeikis. But
so if I would have gone with you, I could have met Eli Manning.
he wasn't. No, he had like thousands of dollar tickets. So like he was, I think, like a row behind courtside, but like, literally along the court. Right. So I was behind a hoop.
This has been a known thing, me as a Knicks fan, that the Nets have never been, since they moved to Brooklyn.
They're not New York's team. There's no way.
I mean, even in New Jersey, they had trouble.
Yeah. Right. So they're just
they had to move a couple
junior.
times. Like they were in Camden, they went to Newark. Like,
it's a bad scene. Like the people that live there, like they say in Brooklyn, there's like no buzz about the Nets, even though they were like a super team this year. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's the Nets. The Nets.
I went to game 1, and like the only reason I went to game 1 is 1, I was shocked how cheap the tickets were, and 2, like it was dead in there. Like they booed Giannis and stuff like that. Game 7 was a lot more energetic, but like there really weren't a lot of people in that stadium at all. And I was like, oh, this is weird. So yeah, I think you saw a lot of like people who were just like, it's a basketball game, like I'll go. And listen, it was a great game. But yeah.
Yeah, it was an all-time game 7 for me. I mean, I thought it was great.
Same.
Speaking of embarrassments, let's talk about the Sixers and their failings. That was embarrassing. If you were familiar with the Sixers, they choked. 16-point lead in game 4, 26-point lead in game 5. In game 7, they just died.
I don't know how much you can say now. If
Atlanta gets I am Ben Simmons. Here is the layup. I'm going to pass the ball right underneath the basket.
Yeah, that was bad. I think we talked Ben Simmons to death, but if the Atlanta Hawks advanced to the finals, like how much of a choke was it? Like
it was still a bit of a choke.
That's what I'm hoping with the Suns, because they swept the Nuggets.
You know what? I like the Suns. I think they're doing well.
Okay. It was like why I rooted for the Ravens to win the Super Bowl after they beat the Broncos in the playoffs.
And
can't stop destiny, guys. Can't stop destiny.
I just received some news coming in from the Twitter Telegram. Ben Simmons has just signed a 3-year deal with the Shanghai Sharks of the CBA.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not. I'm fucking kidding.
All right. I got to ask you guys this. Tom or Tree, when your team loses to another team, do you root for that team to do better, or do you want them to experience the pain?
I want them to experience the pain in most regards, unless they prove hey, they did really well, they have a good team game. Like I don't have any rooting interest against the Islanders. I actually want them to advance because I like the team, how it's constructed and how it's built. If any of you were familiar with Game 6 of the Isles last night, it was a good game, but there was a lot of officiating controversy. There's been a lot of officiating controversy in the NHL. For those of you unfamiliar, there was a lot of cross-checking of one particular man by the name of Nikita Kucherov, who's out for the game. His penalty was never called. There were a bunch of penalties not called on both sides. There's a lot of penalties not called in the Vegas-Montreal series. So it's a little different than the NFL. The NHL is very afraid of impacting the game, so they impact the game by doing nothing. Tom, are you really a hockey guy, or you're more just I don't really give a shit either way?
No, I honestly have never watched a full hockey game. I will say that out of all the sports, I think I could get into hockey because it's fast, it's exciting.
Yes.
It's just I don't have time to do that. So I haven't dedicated to it because even with basketball, I'm just starting to get into it now, but I'm a super casual fan at this point.
We're all super casual.
The only reason I got into it is because so many of my fans are Bucks fans. So I was okay. So I learned more about the team and the organization and stuff like that. And I will say game 1, I had a good time. It wasn't but game 7, I was oh, now I understand why this is so exciting. But I think 5, you were saying this before, like with the MLB, like there's so many games. Like I feel like they're just so inconsequential. Like that's another thing that football has over it, right? It's like there were 16, now there's 17 regular season games. Like you lose a game, that can completely shift your entire season.
Right,
it's
right.
not the same with like any other.
Or you win a game that you're not supposed to, like a division leader comes into town and they're all banged up and you escape with a win, or you get that trap win and you're like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
Like
You get the dunking.
But Tom, you didn't answer the question. Do you root for the team that beats your team or do you root against them?
I think it's completely dependent on who that team is, right? So like when the Seahawks beat the Packers in the championship game, I was like, I want the Seahawks to be destroyed. And they were on the 1 yard line. So that made me very happy. Like when the Buccaneers did it, I didn't want Tom Brady to win again just because I didn't want Tom Brady to win. But when it was like the Falcons, for example, like when they beat us in the championship and then lost 28-3, lost 28, then had the 28-3 like blowout. I was okay with the Falcons winning because it was against the Patriots. So like it's completely dependent. Like when you guys beat us, like the Giants, I was hoping, it was terrible. Like I hope that, like that's I hope
that didn't happen.
It's mostly like if the team that beat you, were they playing the Patriots at some point? Because then you're almost always rooting against the Patriots.
All of you did, like every single one except the Buccaneers, who was Tom Brady. They did. I mean, because when 5 beat us in the championship game with Tom Coughlin freezing his face off, that's when they beat the undefeated Patriots. Then in the divisional game, that's when the Giants went and played the Patriots and beat them again. Then the Seahawks, they lost on the 1 yard line. Then it was the Falcons against the Patriots. Yeah, like the last
they're just always there.
Yeah, they're always. And that's why I'm pissed too, because like I've wanted to see a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers Super Bowl, and we were robbed of it 3 times.
Yeah,
and like that's what bothers me because I would have just it would have just been a fun game.
It would have been nice. Would have been nice to see.
We could have had a Brady Breeze Super Bowl.
Mahomes Rodgers could have been the past 2 years, and I think like I think this Super Bowl this year like sucked because it like the Buccaneers just destroyed them. I think it would have been a lot more enjoyable of a game to watch the Packers and Chiefs. Just because it would have been 2 offensives like just going nuts.
No, you also would have liked it because your stream would have exploded for about 25,000, 30,000 people. That's why, too.
That is accurate. But again, the most people that I get in my streams are when, as we all know, is when they're losing. Like we had 24,000 people in that NFC Championship
People come
game.
to dunk on you.
100%.
Oh, dude. They did it.
When the game loses its interest, like you need something else to keep you going. Like
accurate.
I needed a stream to watch for the last 4 years of Broncos games.
For me, I always root against the team that beat. My dad said my dad is all class. He would be like, you want to say that you got beat by the best, Adam.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bullshit. I want them to cry like I did into my pillow. Like I am not accepting that. I want them to feel the disappointment and the sorrow that I have experienced. And ever since then, like whenever my team loses, like when the Rangers lost to the Devils in the 2012 conference finals, I wanted them to get the crap kicked out of them, and the LA Kings just beat the living snot out of the Devils. And I loved every second of it. Yes. And
Henrik, it's over.
When in 2015, when the Lightning beat the Rangers, I wanted the Blackhawks to take them down, and they took them down. I just drooled when I said that.
I saw it. That was hot.
But yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like when my team is out, I don't want anyone to be happy. I want everyone out. But then,
that's my job.
Yeah. Because usually when we lose, it's to a rival that I absolutely hate. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
how it always goes. Like I kind of felt that way about Steelers losing to Tebow. I'm like, this dude's a scrub. Ike Taylor was terrible. I hope they get crushed, and they kind of did.
They did. Patriots smacked the shit.
And you couldn't even beat the Patriots. Like, come on, dude. Come on.
Yeah, but then they bring up. Then if you lose, then they'll be like, you lost to that crappy team. It makes you feel even worse that you lost to a really bad team.
The Steelers have had plenty of those for the past 10 years, so let's just put it that way.
Ooh, and Tebow's on the Jaguars now. And what if the Jaguars get to the playoffs with Tebow against the Steelers, who already lost once to the Jags in the postseason, and Tebow catches the game-winning touchdown against the Steelers again?
That's implying the Steelers are going to make the playoffs, though.
That's how I want the Steelers to get past that 9. I'm going to take the over now, but they got to play Tebow in the playoffs.
By the way, did you guys see that Yahoo ran a story that said that Tebow was not wearing number 85 in honor of Aaron Hernandez? Like,
No.
they actually ran a
That's
full
phenomenal.
story because of Barry. Because Barry kept tweeting out that Tim Tebow was wearing 85 in honor of his fallen teammate and to bring CTE awareness. And so many outlets thought that it was real. Yahoo did a correction, like an actual full story on not only that it wasn't true, but also explained the history of Barry McCockiner and like stuff. And that he's a troll account. And I was like, Barry, you win.
Barry got him like in 45K.
That's hilarious.
Like, people keep falling for him, but it's just like, Jesus. I know, like, most of the people that do the internet journalism are mostly just like random grads that are just trying to make a quick buck, but Jesus.
Barry almost gets me sometimes when he switches to the Ian Rappaport troll account.
Yeah.
And I see Ian Rappaport and I see like some crazy NFL thing. I'm like, what? And then I always go, wait, is that Ultra Weed Hater? Yep. Not falling for that.
That's like
super polarizing. Don't get me wrong. Like he knows some people hate him, some people love him. I find
he has some fucked up shit sometimes.
Yes, he has some shit, but I love how he does have running gags that continue to go on. And
Tom Brady is a system quarterback, and that unfortunately died when Tom Brady made the Super Bowl. You remember when he was on the Super Bowl media day stream we were doing, and I think
him and DeQuan,
minutes of like a civil war.
Oh my God!
Yeah, him and DeQuan were arguing for
sat there quietly.
Right. There was so much tautology going on because they kept saying the same shit over and over.
And I remember my mom literally like texting me, like she watches the stream sometimes, like, get this people off the text. It's getting boring. It's like, okay, Mom.
That's hilarious.
That was a long day.
Stop. My mom wants you to get off.
Pretty much.
At the same time, that was like in the 7th hour of our 8-hour stream, and both me and Tree were so tired that we couldn't even really stop it. We were just like, all right.
I was like, whatever. I'm just
going.
like,
keep going. Just
before we get out of here, I want to talk about some of these throwback helmets that are possibly coming back.
Agreed that.
So the NFL dropped its dumb rule that a team could only have one helmet for the season. So when the teams go to their throwback uniforms this year for Color Rush, they can wear throwback helmets. So I think I've narrowed it down to like the coolest ones that I want to see.
Do you want to see your old Broncos uni?
People love this shit. People love the old Denver D. You've got the Steelers with the yellow helmets.
Ooh, that's not bad.
The Seahawks old logo is pretty cool. I hate the Patriots, but
that's the one where
I love their old logo.
I like that a lot.
I hate that logo, by the way.
Giants.
Yeah, the old Giants. No,
it's too bland.
Ugh, don't do
that. Get that heresy off my screen.
Do that.
Get
Eagles.
No, the old Eagles.
I like the Eagles.
Eagles.
That's nice.
Yeah. I think the winner, though, at Falcons also. I don't know why I like the Falcons.
That's a nice. I like the red. I like the red.
But I think everybody agrees the number one we all want to see is this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Bucko Bruce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the Packers, of course, don't really have a throwback, so they'll get this.
Oh, the Broncos have that butt ugly.
They've got that one fitted already for Aaron Rodgers. Whatever size he is, 10 or whatever, we'll get the measurements off of his cowboy hat and we'll just put that on there.
Here's my question. If it's a throwback, do the Washington football team go back to their Redskins helmet?
No, they can't.
I'm so happy that Perna threw in that little jab because you're about to lose.
Oh, I don't know.
I think so.
Mean, we got some big rivalries coming. We had me and 5 last year. We've got me and Tom in week 4, me and Brandon in week 5.
No. I'm saying he's about to lose for super chats. Like that's what
good announcement. It was about time, man.
We're gonna punish you now. And now I'm gonna advocate for something terrible.
Oh.
Well, he still hasn't done.
Yeah, where's my 90-minute consultation with TB12?
I think
it's happening in July. I'm going to do it in July. Don't worry.
Okay.
I think that's fair. Oh, so then now you're going to get another punishment. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna make a whole video about. I got to do it like as a review of the TB12 online course because I think if I critique it, then I can get away with showing some of it and recording it. So, and I can turn it into a video that way.
Yes.
Yes.
I can do some
I have a quick
Make some
announcement.
ad rev off it and recoup that lost cost of TB12.
That's
I
right.
know exactly how you're playing. Using
I'm
your
waiting,
noggin. That's always how to be a good YouTuber.
That's right.
Mhm.
I'm like, well, if I'm going to spend 90 minutes listening to somebody tell me that I should stretch a lot so I don't get injured while working out, then that's what pliability is. Tom Brady trademarked stretching and figured out a way to make money on it. I
Well, you
admire
gotta
that,
stretch.
but I hate it.
Got to stretch. Certainly, Tom Brady has to stretch before the game. You know why? We're not talking about his muscles. We're talking about his diameter. Oh, demonetized. Anyways, quick announcement.
Oh, his butt.
Tom's
You mean his
embarrassed.
butt.
We're lucky Scooter's not here because he'd probably.
Somebody's had a challenge for you, Brandon.
Ooh.
How do you respond to Zach Gilbert?
Well, this is actually a good point because I feel like people get infatuated with the old things because they just don't have them anymore. So they're like, oh, those logos were so good. But like, were they? Or do you just kind of miss them? So you glorify them?
No, what we need to
Hold
bring
on.
back are the old Houston Oilers.
I was
No.
just
Blues.
about to say that, Tree. Like,
Hold on,
literally.
let me show you
about
the
to say
worst
that.
Broncos logo in 1 second. I'll upload it, but I do have a quick announcement. So when the Giants play the Broncos
Week one.
week 1,
Ooh.
I will actually be there in person with Brandon Perna,
Oh.
and
Oh.
we will be live from Denver when that
There will
happens.
be some shenanigans after. I know how this
Absolutely.
goes.
And secondarily to that, we're going to go to, so I did that video on the worst high school football fields in America, and Branson High School in Colorado was my number 1. And then I posted a link so that you could donate to help out their field because they're getting actually a new field. And they'd actually made the fundraising goal. But when I posted the link, a bunch of my subscribers and whoever watched that video donated a bunch of money to them. So the AD actually reached out to me and said, thank you for that, because they got a boost enough to get a scoreboard and a concession stand.
It's really cool.
And so he invited me out to help christen their new field. So we'll be so Brandon's going to come with me to Branson, Colorado, which is 3.5 freaking hours away from Denver. It's like on the border between Utah and it's literally
New
in the middle
Mexico,
of nowhere.
dude. Wrong way.
Yeah. Oh, New Mexico, whatever. It's literally in the middle of nowhere, but we're going to go watch a game and help them ring in their new turf. And then we're going to watch the Giants play the Broncos. And I might punch Brandon in his face if it goes bad.
Oh, if we get 5 million from TikTok, you can punch me wherever you want.
Oh, yeah. That's
right.
how it is, man. That's how we're going to talk about it. And that is a terrible looking logo. What's that, from the 70s?
Yeah.
This isn't even the worst one. There's another one where there's a horse that just has like white eyes on him. It's terrible.
Their original colors were yellow and brown.
This is the worst one.
terrifying.
Hold on. Let me upload this one.
That horse looks like he's about to literally send that man to his death.
We're about
Look
to
at
get
those eyes.
demonetized by PETA.
Hold on. This one's
You guys
even
like
worse.
What?
All right,
That's
that
a cave
back.
painting.
Bring
No
that
way.
back.
I did a critique on this logo. It looks like the horse was shot out of a shotgun and he just splattered onto the wall, and that's
Yeah.
what you're left with.
It
It's
looks
like
like
failed
chalk
taxidermy.
from a police scene. That's what that looks like.
Yeah, exactly. It's a chalk outline.
Okay.
Well,
All right, I think we've made it. Oh,
Is it about time to finish up the final minute warning for the?
We got to do our 1 minute warning.
Yep.
for the donate to Brandon.
We can just unmute yourself.
Yeah, I can still talk.
Yeah,
Donate
exactly.
to Brandon Perna in the final
4
30
seconds.
seconds.
Yes, donate to Brandon Perna. I don't
Donate
know why
to
they
Brandon.
randomly
Don't do it.
unmute us.
Nobody's
I'm
doing
distracted.
it. Your plan's going to fail.
Man, I
Well,
love it.
nothing
No one can
happened
know that
last
I'm
week
weak right
too,
now.
but still,
All the rich
it doesn't
people are gone.
matter.
They're on vacation.
Let's just
in
enjoy this
St.
while Scooter
Mark's,
Magruder's
St.
gone, and then
Thomas,
he can talk to
Cayman
us about the
Islands,
noise of Christmas.
Switzerland.
One.
This shit's
Hey,
Oh!
Happy New Year!
Home run.
All
All
right.
right. I'll go first. I made $8.99. Thank you.
You can buy yourself a Big Mac meal, dude.
Alexander Guerrero. Yeah, I can
You can buy one bottle of Head and Shoulders,
Yes.
which will last you a lifetime, Adam.
Ooh, another. What? Where'd that one go?
Somebody said communism rules.
Oh shit!
Any tech?
I forgot. Man, this guy on Twitter sent me some critiques of Clickbait Sports. He asked if he could give us some pointers. I said, sure, if we can read them on air. We'll try to do this next week. But then he sent me, it's Steven Frick. He sent me like 20 screenshots of how he can make this show better.
Eliminate me.
And a lot of his points were valid. I'll try to whittle it down to the bullet points. But I thought it'd be fun
the whole thing like in between.
Sorry, Steven, we'll get to you. I appreciate you taking the time to give us constructive.
Did he give you a PowerPoint presentation? He's like, look, this is where Tom, he needs to lose weight. Okay. Tom needs to
No, I need to lose weight, dude. Tom's all right.
Man, I've been like slimming down. Like
Tom just did like a Tough Mudder.
Yeah.
What was that thing race you did?
Oh, it was a Spartan. It was one of the small ones.
All right.
Yeah.
I think Tree needs to be less yinzery.
I know.
Need to get rid of that.
You can't deny my true spirit, man. Come on.
Brandon needs to become taller somehow. That's on the queue.
Insert.
Well, if you remember Mr. TV from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, after he shrunk, they stretched him out, and he was like 7'5".
Right.
And maybe you do that with Brandon Perna.
And 5 needs to grow.
Come on, boys, stretch me.
All right, Tom, your total.
I made $83.96.
Ooh, wow, that might be a low, record low.
That is a low.
Okay.
I made $134.94.
Wow.
Mostly out of probably people wanting to dunk on me for DeCastro being released. And Mr. Brandon Perna.
Where did I go? Oh,
Not a bad day, guys. $456.58.
There you go. You were getting a little jealous of us the last
Broncos,
couple of weeks, so I figured might as well share the love.
okay, so you've got to order the costume that is a giant dildo with other dildo attached to it, and you've got to wear that during your
I don't think we can do that one, guys.
Sure you can. This is
And you have to wait
2021.
until Scooter's here.
I don't even have to order that one, idiot. Got it.
Any money.
It's right
I mean,
behind
put
you.
on my Sunday's best.
All right, what is the punishment, boys?
Hold on. That's not fair, Steven. No.
Oh, swear jar for Tree.
That's not bad.
That's a terrible idea. Come on.
Broncos 17-0. Thank you.
Brandon Perna, how are you with audio mixing?
I mean, I was a professional video editor for 10 years, so I
Didn't
can
you
do
used to
it.
edit porn?
I did edit porn
He remembers
professionally. I got paid. To watch people do it. Yes.
Thought that wasn't being
You want to mess up your mind?
I was just gonna suggest you make a song about how Aaron Rodgers is not coming to the Denver Broncos, like an original song.
Oh shit!
I want you to create one with your singing voice, and it's got to be at least 3 minutes long.
3 minutes.
I want 3 minute. I want
most
verses,
morning like
I want chorus. I want a
radio
bridge.
parodies aren't even a minute, dude.
Like
I support this.
I want a 3 minute.
That's a good punishment. That'll be fun to do.
It's called Aaron's Not Going Anywhere by Brandon Perna.
I want an Olivia Rodrigo bridge too. Like I want to feel emotion.
Okay.
All right. Like I want you to break it down.
So I got to record it,
Yes.
and then we'll play it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't
Find
have
a
to do it
stock beat.
live.
No, you don't have to do it live. No.
So I can really commit to the vocals.
Yes.
Yes. Auto tune, please.
No.
No.
You get.
I want it.
No, I've heard you sing. It sounds like a cat. It sounds like a cat being punched in the face repeatedly.
That makes it better.
Yes, it does. All right, that's fair.
Do we
Tom?
agree? Do we agree?
Way to go.
No, I'll allow it.
All right.
I'll allow it.
Aaron Rodgers is going nowhere by Brandon Perna.
I mean, there was a suggestion that you make a music video too. I feel like that's a lot of commitment.
That's a little overkill.
I feel like you just the audio's fine. Like we can sit here and listen to it and critique it Yeah, I mean, because Tree is a connoisseur when it comes
Yes,
to
I know all about
so many reviews,
the
and
parody
so
rap.
we can place it. Like, where is it? Like, is it like So Fly, or is it a whole lot of money? Like, you know, there's
my DNA out of 10.
Yeah. BVS level.
Yeah. All right, so I'm actually very excited for this now.
Wow, the revenge has been enacted.
I'm going to give this a family civil war on team ownership out of 10.
All right. Well,
And,
by next week we'll know who's in the conference finals in
In both hockey and
or the finals.
B-ball and hockey.
Yes.
Hockey, basketball, maybe.
Maybe one will get in, but for sure hockey will know.
Yes.
Well, the Bucks, right? If they go to Game 7, it's not.
No, it won't be.
It would probably be Friday or Saturday, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That is today's show.
Are we hyping up things we're doing?
Thank you all for joining us on this terrible occasion. I am a pissed off Yinzer. That is a man who is ready to jack himself off furiously to Matt LaFleur and his beautiful, beautiful wife named Robert Saleh. This is a man that's about to be punished and about to win a Grammy for Best Individual Performance. And that man right there, I think you have something else to announce us in the future as well about a certain creator thing you were mentioning.
Yeah. Next week I have a surprise. So I don't know. I have to ask him if I'm allowed to announce it publicly.
Oh. Well, tomorrow.
This is what we call a cliffhanger.
Yes, it's something that really put it in next week. Yeah.